Hello and welcome to Politics. Today I'm Farooq Petafi. Once again, we are going to talk about politics of Pakistan. As you know, the budget session continues after the kerfuffle that we saw. Now there seems to be peace in the sessions, but despite the fact that we are supposed to debate a budget, it seems that focus once again is about electoral reforms, not that much budget reforms. I pointed out that day also when the leader of the opposition proved to be four-time lucky. After three aborted speeches, he finally managed to slip in his speech. At that time, too, I pointed out that the speech was hardly about the text of the budget speech. It was more about the hearsay that was in the in the media, the hints that were continuing. But similarly, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari also spoke, and when he spoke at that time also, it seemed that it was more a political speech rather than an economic one. And now we know that the government actually planned to reach out to the opposition. On the other side, we have also seen that it is not going anywhere because Shehbaz Sharif, the opposition leader, seems to be planning an APC to focus on electoral reforms. Remember that in these electoral reforms, the focus primarily is about electronic voting machines. And while this idea seems to be very close to the government's heart, the opposition keeps on smelling fish. It seems to have doubts about the whole project. We are going to talk about all these matters and more, but before that, there are cards. Let me read them for you. Let me ask the producer to put it up on the screen. There are certain statements which are important. Fawad Chaudhry, the Federal Information Minister, said funds to Sindh must be monitored. Remember, this is important. Then he also says the unnatural alliance of opposition parties would not succeed in its agenda of protection of vested interests as they lack vision and public support. Fawad Chaudhry. The government is ready to introduce electoral reforms in the parliament to ensure transparency in electoral process. The government wants to take opposition on board for the national cause to initiate debate on various issues in the parliament. The opposition parties are showing non-serious attitude towards legislation on many issues. Farooq Habib, Minister of State for Information, and then this statement from Babar Awan Sahab. The government has always shown seriousness over the bringing of transparency in the election through using electronic voting machines, EVMs, but the opposition parties who want status quo to persist are not in favor of EVMs. Babar Awan. So these are some statements which we thought that will be interesting to you and will frame the debate that we have today nicely. We are going to talk about this. Remember that PMLN has been complaining about 2018 election, and while they did it, they kept on saying that there should be more transparency. Now there is the idea of an electronic voting machine that is supposed to be transparent, but opposition somehow keeps on dilly-dallying. We are going to talk about all these matters and more in order to help us understand these issues. In the studio, we are joined by Amir Hussain Saab, who is political analyst, columnist of renown, are regular on the show. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Ahmed Jawad Saab joins us in the studio as well. He is Central Secretary Information, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. The third guest is to join us on Skype. The moment they join, I'm going to introduce them as well. Let me ask you, Amir Hussain Saab, is there a possibility in this term that the government and opposition will be able to reconcile some differences over elections?
Well, I think the way opposition has been, displaying its displeasure over the government rule
Yeah.
is mostly on sideline issues. Sometimes if we have the 3 years history, we have seen that there are the fundamental issues where opposition and government have worked together. And many issues, extension issues and others,
No, extension is not government issue. You know what
Yeah,
issue
I
it
know,
is.
I know.
So don't count it into
Yeah,
this category.
but I think there is a likelihood that the government may come into, government. It is up to the government now to position itself in a way that the electoral reform is not only about electronic machines, but it's larger governance issue, the structure issue which need to be taken into account.
Yeah, but is the government addressing it that way? Because
it's
it seems to be focusing on EVMs.
Right now, the government is only focused on the electronic machines thing, but I think technology is important. Of course, nobody denies the fact that. But the larger and more important thing is to look at the overall institutional structure, where we can see that the elections, we see that we don't trust in the elections. After every election, the losing party will come up with a number of issues and a dozen of accusations. So the only way to cut it down is to bring two things, or at least one is the use of technology is important, but also the larger institutional structures. I think the government must come forward with some sort of initiation that's saying that, well, this is the technology issue, but we want to focus on larger institutional issues as well.
Let me ask Ahmed Jawad Sahab, sir, your take on this issue. Have you reached out to the opposition? If you have, what are they asking? And secondly, why is it that the whole idea of electoral reforms is now focused basically on EVMs?
First of all, the election reforms bill, it has I think more than dozen clauses which are meant to reform the elections, and EVM is one of them.
Yeah, digital record, basically biometrics, some relief for the expatriates, and then EVMs.
Yeah.
This is the basic.
So the main purpose of these reforms are to bring transparency and something which is always a political deadlock in the past. For the two main parties in the opposition, People's Party and PMLN, they have been in power for 10 years. They were never interested. They were never talking about free and fair elections. They were happy with the system until they lost elections in 2018, and suddenly they realized that this election is not fair, it's not transparent. So it looks like that only once they lose the power, then they have objection to the system which they have been benefiting, which the system which has benefited them in maybe 2 decades or 3 decades, the same system. They have been in and out of power through the same system. But 2018 basically broke the monopoly of 2 major parties, and for the first time they started talking about not transparency of the elections, not reforms of the elections, but objecting to the election results and calling it a rigged election and a selected government. So their debate, I mean, Fawad Chaudhry's statement, which you were just showing in the beginning on the screen, I was really enjoying the 2 statements where he says opposition lack vision and a roadmap, a strategy. And I think this is also visible here, that in the elections they just want to call 2018 elections as a rigged election, but they do not want to step towards the next thing, that how to prevent this, if at all, if it was right. So once the government takes the initiative, before that their initiative under the PDM again was not for the election reforms. That agenda was to bring down the government, which they failed. And now when the government takes a step towards that direction, whether it is EVM or it is overseas voting right or it is internet voting, so there is some initiative. And now what we need to consider is that this bill is passed from the National Assembly, and in Senate it has gone to the to a committee which is equally participated by opposition and the government representatives,
Yeah.
and they are going to discuss it, deliberate it. So
And how many sessions have taken place so far?
I think it has just been made how long? I think a week, less than a week.
Yeah, but we have been discussing this issue for 3 months now.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So it
To
it
Senate-
seems that there is some delay. Allow me to
Yeah.
actually
But
welcome.
you know, there is a reluctance from the opposition
Right.
to debate, to start a debate on this thing. They are just rejecting the bill. And one more thing, if at all,
Yeah, I hope you'll leave some arguments for
Yes,
the later
yes,
part
yes,
of
yes.
the program. But I have to actually fill 1 hour of discussion. Let me welcome the third guest who joins us on telephone. Dr. Afnanullah Khan, Senator of Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, joins us on telephone. Dr. Saab, we are discussing the government's outreach to the opposition and the idea of electoral reforms, particularly EVMs. Why is it that PMLN and all parties, opposition parties, don't seem that convinced of the idea?
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. The thing is that some of the comments made by my PTI friend were factually incorrect, that there was never an attempt by the government to make electoral reforms. There was a full exercise of an electoral reform in 2017, which PTI government was also part of. And they, at that time, were against EVM. At that time, when the whole issue of EVM came, they were not supporting it. And there was an experiment that was done in a few constituencies using EVM. And the result that came out was that it is a very expensive system, and it has little to no utility whatsoever. So when my friends say that we are not interested in a reform, that is factually incorrect. That's one thing. Second thing is that the issue that we had a monopoly, and because we had a monopoly, we don't want the system to be changed, is again factually incorrect, because there has always been a King's Party. Before PTI, it was CAF League. Before CAF League, there were many other Junaid League, there were conventional leagues. So there has always been a King's Party which has been supported by the establishment. So
Between
saying
a
that
conventional league and between Junaid League, you skipped your own party, sir. There was a time when it was also.
I will say that IGI was supported by the establishment. PMLN was never.
Yeah.
Once PMLN was formed, we were already not the most likable party of Pakistan by the establishment. So we never had that kind of leverage. But the fact remains that these EVMs and the I-voting system was not supported by the PTI government. The PTI when we had the Election Act 2017. But now, suddenly, after they have lost 10 out of 11 elections, by-elections, they have realized that the only way to power is via the establishment. And that is why now they know that if there will be another election in Pakistan, and where there will be no rigging, the kind of rigging that took place in 2018, they will not be able to even manage to get a few seats. So there is a full-blown exercise led by the president himself, and his, information minister is sometimes the technology guy, sometimes he's a lawyer, sometimes he's a journalist, sometimes he's the expert in space sciences. So he's now the expert in EVM, somehow. Although he has no background in technology.
Dr. Sir, hang on. But I understand that you want to actually criticize the government, but one job that I have is to actually keep everyone true to their own stances, right? I remember 2017, at that time EVMs were in a trial stage. Biometrics and EVMs were being tried by the then government. Why is it that today we seem to feel that PMLN keeps on abandoning its previous position? For example, there was this election for Senate, and at that time too, the government was pushing for something that PMLN had in principle agreed when it signed Charter of Democracy, and later on you kept on opposing that position, and it did not even benefit you, this opposition.
So, I mean, we are open to the other changes which have been identified by the PTI government, and we are not it's not a blanket rejection by the opposition. It was just the fact that they tried to bulldoze this. It was done in a haphazard manner. The minister who's in charge for parliamentary affairs is not a member of National Assembly or the Senate, so he cannot move the bill. But he moved the bill, which was again illegal. So there are many because they are, I mean, most of them very incompetent people. They don't know how the whole thing works. They need to get the opposition to come on board and have a debate. Then there are committees where there is a debate on this particular issue. The way we did the Election 2017 Act, the way we did the 18th Amendment, they did not took into account anybody, not the Election Commission, not the opposition, and they just tried to bulldoze their way because they know they are the only way Imran Khan can somehow become the Prime Minister is through rigging.
Okay,
And that this is the plan for rigging for 2023.
Dr. Saab, do stay with us. Let me come back to the studio. Amir Hussain Saab, there seems to be a lot of bitterness between PML and PTI. I understand that. I mean, both actually originate from the same province.
Yeah.
And they are actually competing for the same space. But that also shows you something else. Because both are essentially populist parties, that whatever happened in Senate actually was not to advantage of either of them. It actually went to a third party, People's Party, which might not have that kind of space in Punjab, but it walked away with more seats than it could afford. At this moment, do you think that this bitterness is stopping them from seeing that in electoral reforms, they are allies, not enemies?
Well, I think that is kind of realization that statesmanship brings in.
Okay.
If we don't have statesmanship and we start
Whom are you alleging to be a statesman here?
I think the statesmen are the ones who will rise above the partisan politics to see the larger reform agenda.
Yeah.
I think the larger reform agenda in Pakistan politics and the governance structure is not a singular factor that we have to count into. But I think there are many factors that we need to take into account. For example, every time an election takes place, every party would come up with number of allegations, and that is because we have a lot of loopholes within the system, and some people would also go to blame establishment for rigging elections. Someone would say no, it's because of the power politics that is going on. Anything, whatever you say, but the fact is that unless you do the larger reforms, unless you bring in all those important stakeholders into the fold.
Yeah, about that. Remember General Pervez Musharraf's time?
Yeah.
It was in 2001-2 when we were having debates about reforming the electoral system. Since then, every 2 years, 4 years, we have been at it.
Yeah.
Why is it that it has taken us almost 20 years to try to get something fixed, and we still are debating about these?
Absolutely, that is unfortunate fact, because we are so Lilliputians in our politics. We don't want to go beyond our nose. You know, that is the major problem. If you look at the same politicians, when they are out of the power, would always say that we have been kept out of the power because of X and Y.
Yeah.
But when they come to power, they do the same thing. I mean, this is the lack of seriousness. As I said, the lack of statesmanship, the display of statesmanship that would count to bring larger reform agenda if you want to strengthen the democracy in the country.
Right. Ahmed Jawad Sahab, one aspect which is very important. Technology is always welcome, right? But this elections in 2018, we saw an accusation, and of course it was a technical fault. It can happen anywhere, but because of that, results and their compilation and announcement were delayed. I'm talking about RTS. Because of that, perhaps opposition is not ready to put its faith in technology. It was primarily your government's responsibility to convince them and to woo them. Why is it that it is that difficult? I mean, you can talk to anybody. You can talk to Taliban, you can talk to India, you can talk to the US. These are your own, countrymen. Why can't you talk to them?
Farooq, I think for example, if I have to give you a suggestion or a proposal,
Okay.
I think the only thing which I will be expecting from you is that you accept to sit down for the discussion, to sit down for a negotiation. You at least allow my proposal to be tabled and at least qualify it for the discussion and the debate. The problem with the opposition is that there is a complete rejection, whatever the government comes up, any proposal or anything. So they start with the rejection. And for example, right now I think I would agree that there is a mistrust, and especially with regard to the technology. And yes, technology can be misused, there is no doubt about it, but do any one of us know the mechanism of elections, the voting system once EVM is implemented? Nobody, not even the government, not even opposition, because
Why? You didn't have
I can explain
trials?
you. I can explain you. I mean, it's not about just operating the machine.
Yeah.
That's just one part and the the first step of the whole process and the system. Election Commission has also pointed out this thing, and Election Commission said that the bill does not specify that how we are going to implement this, how we are going to integrate with the traditional system previously. It is going to be a not 100% replacement of the traditional electoral system.
Okay.
It is going to be additional thing on the electoral system which we already have. And Election Commission, once it is approved from the Senate, when it goes to the Election Commission, that will be the time for the first time that the ownership goes to Election Commission, obviously, because they have to exercise this thing.
Right.
So they are going to consult all political parties, and they are going to propose something that how this voting will be done, how a voter is going to come to the electronic voting machine, whether there will be a manual ballot box also, and how these
Hybrid.
two will be integrated in terms of results. So I think that is the time when opposition should be making sure that their doubts are addressed.
Okay.
But at this stage, they are just not letting this system, letting this proposal to go forward.
Okay.
They just want to stop it. And I don't know, the reason could be the deadlock or bitterness between the two parties, or it is lack of trust.
Okay.
There could be multiple reasons.
Okay.
But this is not going to help opposition.
Right.
If they delayed, okay, hypothetically.
I understand that Election Commission is finally, it is their call in the end, because
Procedure.
because it is about implementation,
Yeah.
right? But here's the thing. I hear from the government ministers that there is a working prototype available. I want to know what kind of prototype it is. Is it only electronic? Is it hybrid, which also has a paper trail, right? And the problem then is that usually it is thought that ROs are human beings who are not properly trained, and their exercise is labor intensive. You bring in machines, you make it capital intensive, and remove the human interface as much as possible. Now, if you are going to have a hybrid system which has both, are you not making it more difficult for yourself by making it both capital intensive and, wow, even labor intensive?
No, I think the introduction of electronic voting machine is primarily based on the fact that the traditional electoral system did not prove sufficient to satisfy different political parties over the results. So that is the primary purpose of introducing electronic voting machine. And the point which I was trying to bring about is that yes, government can demonstrate the operation of electronic voting machine, but government neither in its bill nor by virtue of its responsibility cannot explain that how this voting will be done in a hybrid system, how these are going to facilitate, integrate, complement each other, and turn into something which is more reliable and more trustworthy result which could satisfy the political party. That is why I am saying that the procedure, the method, the implementation, the execution is still not clear. It is just the EVM which we are talking about, that okay, it works, this machine works like this. But
Right.
the EVM is not the whole electoral process what is being proposed. It is going to be in combination with the traditional methods also, which is the ballot paper, which is a kind of a receipt coming out of it. So all those things. So I'm not sure about that. Nobody knows. Even the Election Commission doesn't know it.
Yeah, but
they
the-
they will explain it. They will be bound to explain it once they receive the approval from the both parliaments, and then they can talk about it. They can discuss it. That now how to roll out this. thing.
Right. But I was just pointing out to the fact that Comstech and our science ministry actually inaugurated a machine. It was
Yes, no
on
doubt about
display
that.
also.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know about that hybrid nature. I see that Dr. Afnan, I think, has joined us now on Skype. Dr. Afnan, let me ask you this very simple question. First, you had concerns about RTS. I understand that it is essentially a system in which ROs actually file the results, and then it is compiled through the software and reaches here. That is human interface, and machines can actually do away with that. The second important thing is that in the recent elections in Punjab, your complaint was that perhaps this very same ROs were kidnapped or things like that. Now, it is very clear that machines cannot be kidnapped. They are there. And if once I've cast my vote, they will be there, and we can always go and examine the results. So, is it not important at this moment for your party to actually agree with the government, at least to see how important this idea is and how much value it can contribute to the electoral transparency, sir? Dr. Afnan.
Yeah, thank you. I've got a
So
doctorate.
you'll have to
in information
unmute your
security.
Skype. Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
yes, sir. Please go.
I've got a doctorate in information security, and I understand this subject very well. The issue with e-voting or electronic voting or I-voting is that whenever I will cast a vote, there will be a record of that particular vote. So if you go back to the very start of democracy, one of the fundamentals of democracy is anonymity. That nobody can trace the vote to the person who actually voted. So, and that is how basically, you make sure that the poor people, the labor and all them, they cannot be influenced into voting for some A or B or C. So, but when you introduce e-voting or I-voting in the whole system, you create a very big problem of anonymity. Now, if you want to de-link my vote with me, then there will be an issue of integrity of the vote at the same time. And it is like, you can either have integrity or you can have anonymity, but you can't have both. So this is as simple as that. And this is one of the very reasons why you have seen that the US elections of 2000 between Al Gore and Bush was rigged in Florida, where there were EVM machines were used. And then
Right.
in 2016, in the US elections, again the Russians hacked the machines to change the results, because of course they have delinked the vote with the person, so therefore you can basically go back in the database and change the entry. And that is why I don't even think that PTI actually realizes how big of a problem this will be, not only for the whole country, but maybe for themselves, because you're not going to be always the most, the most adored party
Right.
in Pakistan by certain quarters. So even PTI will get into a lot of trouble if they pass
Right.
this bill. Secondly, one thing that I also want to point out is that
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I was in Senate today. There was a session going on today, and there were two bills, one with regards to domestic violence, and then there was another one with regards to old homes, which was passed by the Senate, and we actually supported those bills. So it is not that we are against. We have a blanket rejection for all the bills that are coming in by the government. We go on bill to bill, see the content of the bill, and then support or don't support the government. And in this particular case, I have seen the legislation, and it was done in a very quick way, without consulting the ECP, without consulting the opposition. It was like, everyone is in a hurry to just implement the system. And I can tell you that from our experience in what happened in 2018, there is certainly a conspiracy against the democracy, where you can use EVM machines and I-voting to change the results of the election. And keeping our track record in mind and what has been
Right.
happening in the last few decades, I would
Right.
suggest
Dr.
that
Saab,
we-
I want to stay with you, and but regarding what you said earlier about anonymity and EVMs, right? I understand that when it comes to the US, every state, it has 50 states, every state has its own system, and most of what accusations are there are hearsay. But in countries like India, EVMs seem to actually work in tandem. And that is an example that your party has been citing for quite some time. Why not actually go for this idea? I want to actually hammer on this issue because anonymity is not an issue. When you actually cast your vote, your identity is detached from the vote you have cast, but the votes
then
record
there's a-
remains, and there is a possibility of creating a paper trail that is not actually attached to you, but it verifies that somebody has actually voted.
So now when you delink my ID with the vote, now there is an issue of integrity of the vote, because there is no way you can track the vote to me, so anyone can go back in the database and change the entry. How are you going to stop that from happening? And that is what is
They'll
exactly
only see that you have cast your vote.
So I go to an EVM machine. They check my Nadra record. They check everything. Then I press a button. The ballot is casted. The ballot is printed. So there's a record of that particular entry. So if you delete that record, there is no integrity. If you keep that record, there is no anonymity. And this is a research problem. It is not only in Pakistan. My professor told me about this issue 15 years ago. And as far as the EVM machines in India are concerned, the Indian democracy is very mature. They never had any martial laws, and even they implemented EVM over the course of 2 decades. So they started in somewhere in '89, and then full implementation came some like 5-10 years ago. So they took like good part of 2 decades to learn from their
Right.
experiences.
Very
Then
quickly,
implemented-
before I come back to the studio, when is PMLN going to hold or host that APC on this matter?
I think we have not announced a date on that particular issue, but it will be in the coming weeks, not too far in the future.
Okay. Shehbaz Sharif Saab has tweeted about it. That's why I was asking it. Let me come
Yes.
back to the studio. Amir Hussain Saab, you have listened to the objections. My problem is that I've been working in more or less the same space, electoral reforms, transparency. And I don't understand these concerns because anonymity is not connected with how the votes are actually cast.
Well, the anonymity is not a big issue. I think how the vote is cast and who is going to vote and for whom. It's not, nobody is going to take your identity away and say this person has voted for.
Yeah, you cannot connect.
Yeah,
That's how machines
absolutely.
work.
And I think the only concern that seems to be, constantly coming forward is the weak democracy. They are saying that we need to have a strong, mature democracy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for
because-
that you'll not have to actually install machines, but
Yeah.
different kind of lawmakers
Absolutely.
who accept results.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the intent of power. The
Yeah.
intent of power is it to bring democracy, or is it to bring more controls, or is it to do? There are a lot of suspicions, a lot of skepticism
Yeah.
that comes into play when we discuss about all these things. Number one, because primarily the opposition has not accepted the PTI as a legitimate government. That's why they are putting a lot of things.
Not their PTI.
Neither the
didn't
PTI,
accept-
yeah. The PTI has its own narrative of
When
corruption and
it
all that.
was in opposition.
Yeah. So
This
I
has
think-
been the case since my childhood. Remember,
yeah.
today the machines are really smart, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The mobiles that you use, the computers. I remember in my early youth and my childhood, Mohtarma bin Nazir Bhutto actually accusing that there have been supercomputers installed in the presidency and perhaps in GHQ, and they are going to actually manipulate the manual ballot, right? That cannot be. I mean, even today's technology cannot do it unless you use drones. But that is the way our culture of politics rolls.
Absolutely.
So how do you recover from there?
Well, I think there's a long journey that we have come to from sublimity to mundane. We have come to.
We always were
We
mundane.
had to sublime politics in 1960s, 70s in a way. Now we are no more.
How old are you,
mundane.
sir?
I mean, you see, I mean.
I mean, you were of the voting age in 16s and 70s?
No, I'm not, but I have read many things about it.
Yeah, but
because-
that is,
and then,
history is written
no,
by the...
if the National Assembly is abusing, bashing, and fighting, if you look at the National Assembly, the Balochistan Assembly, we didn't see it before. I mean, it is
Excuse me,
degenerating. into
before Ayub Khan's military takeover,
yeah.
a deputy speaker of East Pakistan's assembly was killed in the parliament. I mean, come on, we have been the same people through and
Well,
through.
now
Let me actually
we are more
come.
into that. So we're
Ahmed,
not improved a bit.
but I mean, I don't see sublime with the exception of Qaid Azam and his
Yeah.
politics. But let me go to Ahmed Jawad sir. Sir, here's an argument that almost neutral detractors of your government actually make. That you usually have a perfectly good suggestion or idea. But because you are new to the game and you don't know how to handle politics, you actually end up creating a crisis out of that as well. The idea of EVM is a great one. It actually connects directly to one's logic, right? Why is it that you haven't actually been able to convince the opposition to sit with you without any problem? At least listen to your case. And then, honestly, something else also happens. Prime Minister says that I have written a letter to the Speaker, he is going to contact, opposition says whatever it says, and then there is a flurry of statements from the ministers criticizing the very same opposition, which actually stops playing ball.
If you allow me, I can also give my comments on the subject of anonymity of vote,
please,
which
go
Dr.
ahead.
Afnan. I mean, the question and the objection which has been raised by Senator Dr. Afnan, I'm not rejecting it. I mean, as a parliamentarian, this is his right that he can raise questions, he can raise objections, and there's a need to have answers for that. So that is why just in our last session of this program, I was saying that the mechanism, the method, the execution, the implementation of electronic voting machine with the old traditional system, how it is going to work, this mechanism and method has yet to come, and it will be defined by election commission, and perhaps this question can also be answered there. Because you were asking age from Amir Hussain, so I can tell you I'm from a very old time. So
Okay.
from my childhood, I can give you an example that my father used to be a professor in political science, and after the annual exams, he used to get the answer sheets of the students, and the roll number, the actual roll number, used to be replaced with the fictitious roll number, so that you cannot manipulate the result.
Okay.
What I'm telling you is that something
while you're saying
40
olden times,
No,
you're talking about my childhood as well. That used to happen during my
but
childhood.
let me conclude why I'm giving this
Yeah, yeah,
example.
yeah.
If 40 years ago, if there could be manual methods which could prevent anonymity,
Okay.
so what do you think today with the present technology we cannot avoid this thing, we cannot
Right.
prevent this thing?
Right.
So that is why I'm saying that any question, any concern raised by the opposition that needs to be discussed, whether in the Senate or in the Election Commission, they should come up with their questions and they should satisfy themselves, and it is the job of Election Commission, and in the Senate it is the job of the members of the committee from the government try
Right.
to convince them.
Right, and this is the point. You are very smart. Very, very smartly took away the discussion in another direction. My question was, where is your healing touch? Why is it that you cannot reach out to the opposition and convince it to sit with you? But very effectively, you actually took it 40 years back and you spoke about anonymity in the exams, which, by the way, could be compromised. This might not be compromised, right?
Yes, that is olden times.
Yeah,
But now we have technology.
Yeah.
We can ensure many things. today.
I have to once again go to Dr. Afnan for very quick intervention here because I'm told that we are left with a couple of minutes. Dr. Afnan, what will it take for the opposition to sit with the government on this matter?
We are happy to sit with the government. And the bill has now been being moved in the committee. So there's a debate that will take place in the Senate Committee for Parliamentary Affairs. There we have already raised some objections, and this particular objection that I was talking about will also be raised over there. So, so this is, I mean, we never had any issues, as I said before, in legislation. As far as if the government wants to come up with a bill, they need to consult not only the opposition but also the Election Commission. The mechanism of the whole process is something that the ECP will define, and if I see that mechanism, I can basically be convinced whether the anonymity is ensured or not. And to this day, the process that has been explained by the government does not ensure anonymity, and therefore we reject EVM. And there is another problem as well, and that is even a bigger problem, that this system will take hundreds of billions of rupees to be implemented. In a country where we don't have money for vaccines and for and money for food, spending hundreds of billions of rupees on a EVM is not a very good idea. I would rather have some EVMs, experimental ones, being used, and then we can build it from there.
Right, that's a good point, sir. I'm told that we have to conclude the program here, but in the end, you made a very fascinating point that is about money. And one would say that basically it is the opposition's job to actually monitor the government's procurements as well. And maybe it could be done if the government and opposition could at least pass the conceptual level of this argument and then move forward. I am told that we have to conclude the program here. Dr. Afnanullah Khan sahab, thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Ahmed Hussain sahab, thank you very much for your precious time. Ahmed Jawad sahab, thank you very much for your participation, your arguments, and the stories you brought in. Viewers, you have listened to the discussion. It will continue, I'm sure, because in this country for 40 years we have been discussing elections, transparency and corruption as well. But let us hope that in the end, the democratic spirit actually prevails and everybody at least decides to sit together to resolve these issues. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.